Hey, I'm Chris, and this is MMA for You. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 145 Vengeance, which happens on November 6th. Overall, good fight card. I like the main card a lot. Freire versus Strauss 3 should be really cool. Brooks versus Held, while I probably favor Brooks, still an intriguing fight and a well-deserved title shot for Held. He's on a good win streak. Curran versus Lawrence is probably going to be the sleeper of the night. I think that's going to be a really good fight. Michael Chandler versus Rickles. I like them both. Chandler's already beaten Rickles, but it is a good fight nonetheless. Lashley versus Thompson is just a fun freak show fight. Both these guys are huge. They look like comic book characters. So that should be interesting. The prelims, not that great. I mean, I do like Huddleston versus Kai. You get some former UFC guys like Adam Sella and Chris Heatherly. I will say this, though. I've not seen those ultra lopsided matches that I'm used to. I see a couple. Here and there, but sometimes you'll see a guy that's 8-1, 8-2 versus some guy that's 6-6. You know, you're getting one guy's 9-2 and the other guy's 9-3, or one guy's 4-0 and one guy's 4-1. So you're not getting so much of that obvious record mismatch, resume mismatch on this prelim. So that's always a good thing to see. And who knows, some of these guys might be some diamonds in the rough. I'll also say this too. I'm feeling upset potential in a couple of these fights. Like I said, I don't look at odds, but I can assume who's going to be the favorite here. I see upset potential in a good amount of these fights. It's just, I think, in these main card fights, and I'm actually going to go with some upsets here. So bear with me. Let's get started. In the main event for the Bellator featherweight title, we have Patricio Pitbull Freire versus Daniel Strauss. So this is actually going to be the third time that they fought. First time they fought was a 3-rounder that Freire won by unanimous decision. And then the next time they fought was a title fight. It was 5 rounds, and Freire won by, rear naked choke? And that was pretty recent too, actually. So here we go. Freire, 24-2 record, 9 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. 28 years old. He's going to be the shorter fighter at 5'6". He's on a 7-fight win streak, most recently knocking out Daniel Weichel. And I think before that he beat Daniel Strauss. And before that was Pat Curran, if I'm not mistaken. Trains out of Pitbull Brothers. He's the current Bellator featherweight champion. He's got some strong boxing. He's real heavy-handed. He doesn't use a jab. But he's still very effective and pretty accurate too. He has some strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills though. His takedown defense and overall counter wrestling is good too. He's hard to take down. He's hard to keep down even if you take him down. Daniel Strauss, 23-6 record with 1 no contest, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. Also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 3 losses by sub. 31 years old. He'll be the taller fighter at 5'8". He's trading wins and losses right now. He's coming off a win, actually. He trains out of ATT. He's a former Bellator featherweight champion, and he's big for 145. He's actually had to cut off all his dredge one time to make 145. His boxing has greatly improved. Now he's his stand-up's pretty potent, actually. He's actually pretty heavy-handed. His wrestling's good. He's getting into clinch. Here's my thing. Both of these guys have some flaws. Now, one thing, and they're concerning, okay? Daniel Strauss's flaw is that he's fading late in his fights. I can't help but think it's probably from the weight cut. Watch it'd actually be his 3rd fight against Pat Curran. He's winning the fight, and at the very end of the 5th round, he loses it by rear naked choke. Same with his 2nd fight against Patricio Pitbull Freire. He's winning the fight. He's doing good in the stand-up. Actually, Freire really couldn't get past his reach. And then he fades late, gets choked out again. Now here's the problem with Frere that I'm noticing these days. He is becoming something of a comeback kid, and that isn't very good. Daniel Weichel fight. Dude, he's getting lit up by Weichel. And, you know, he managed to get a counter in there and knock out, because he's got some heavy hands. Frere does. But he got beat up by Weichel. Before that, he got beat up by Strauss. Pretty good. Even his second fight against Curran, it was a very hard-fought win. He's taking a lot of damage, and it seems like he's taking more and more damage as of late. I can't help but feel that's a concern. So, with that said, like, one guy's fading late and losing because of it, and one guy is taking a lot more damage than he used to take. And, you know, like I said, I think there's upset potential in a lot of these fights here. I'm gonna assume that Patricio Pitbull will be the favorite here. I'm going Strauss, man. I can't shake off the fact that, like, Frere really is getting touched up. I also feel that he had such a hard time getting past Strauss's reach. And the problem with Strauss, though, he fades late, which gives opportunities for Frere to finish him. But now it's becoming a point where Frere has to finish an opponent, you know, this level of fighter in order to get the win. And if he doesn't, he'd probably lose a decision. Possibly, you know, and the Strauss fight, the second Strauss fight for sure. Weichel fight, it definitely was looking that way, even though it went like 1.5 rounds. Like I said, I can't shake that Frere seems to be, like I said, like, I think people are starting to understand his game a lot more and really utilize the height advantage that most fighters have. Frere is like small and compact, while a lot of guys he's fighting are taller. And it just kind of, I get this impression that a lot more fighters are really able to pick about, like the higher level ones, like Strauss, Weichel, Curran at some points, can kind of beat him at range these days. And I can definitely see Strauss just kind of beating him at range, Frere having a tough time really getting inside. But once again, I fear that Strauss is going to fade late. That's the thing. But, you know, like I said, it wasn't that long ago that they fought, too. You have to think. That was just 2 fights ago for both of these guys. You know? So, and like I said, I felt that Strauss was winning that fight until he lost it. And that's a pattern with him, though. So, you know, on the other side, let's just say, like, I'm picking Frere. And I'm going back and forth. I was going real back and forth with this pick. The thing with Frere is he does have fight-ending power. He is a potent finisher. He's good on the ground. He's better on the ground than Strauss, in my opinion. Like I said, I really don't like that how badly he's getting hurt in his fights as of late. And it seems to be not an anomaly, but a pattern at this point. And he's fighting higher level guys too, you know. Strauss, Weichel, he'll probably fight Karakanian and whatnot. He's good too. Maybe probably the winner of Curran versus Lawrence. Well, we'll probably get the winner of this fight. I gotta go Strauss. I'll probably go by Strauss by decision. Like I said, I'm not too confident in this pick. Like I said, I acknowledge that Strauss fades late and has lost. And that's how he lost against Frere that second time they fought. But I think this time I'm gonna hope that Strauss doesn't fade as much later in the fight, get himself in a bad position, which seems to be what happens when he fades. He just like gives up his back and stuff. So yeah, Daniel Strauss by decision. Can't say I'm super confident with this pick at all. And heck, I've had a good one with Patricio Pitbull Freire too. I've been picking him to win a lot of his. I've been pretty good about picking his fights for a very long time. Next fight after that, Ill Will Brooks fights Marcin Held. Held, 21-3 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 12 wins by sub. He's only 23 years old on a 6-fight win streak. Most recently, leg locking Sarnovsky. He has some strong Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. I mean, he is a foot lock and a leg lock specialist, but like, there's that one time he's I forgot, he went over with Derek Anderson. Does like a flying guard pull and then gets a triangle choke. He's really strong off his back. His overall wrestling's improving too. He's a good scrambler, and his stand-up is actually improving. It's still the weakest point of his game, but it is improving. Will Brooks, 16-1 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub, 29 years old on a 7-fight win streak. Trains out of ATT, and he is the current Bellator lightweight champion. He is a strong wrestler, both offensively, and his takedown defense is really good. His kickboxing has been greatly improving. I really like his clinch striking. He'll mix in his kickboxing and his clinch striking very well. His ground and pound's strong, and he has good cardio. This guy goes 5 rounds pretty easy. Will Brooks is probably the best lightweight outside the UFC at this point. He's really good. I mean, I'm actually really curious to see how well he'd do in the UFC. I think he could be an up and comer for that organization. Right now, though, there's still good challenges for him. Like Marcin Held is a good challenge for him. He'll probably get Josh Thompson. Should he? You know, the winner of this fight's probably gonna get like Josh Thompson, which is a good fight as well. But anyways, as far as the fight goes, I gotta go with Will Brooks to win this one. I think he can defend the takedowns of Marcin Held. I can see him definitely avoiding the ground game and just beating up Held on the feet. I'm not great at picking Marcin Held. I'm getting better. I picked him to beat Sarnovsky. So I'm kind of like not underestimating him as much as I used to. However, it's Will Brooks. This guy is, I can still kind of consider him a prospect. It's tough to say at this point because he is still improving. But this guy's just really good. He's really, I mean, he definitely beats Held in athleticism. Like I said, I can see him avoiding the ground game, the crazy guard pulls, the crazy ways of getting getting leg locks. I can definitely see Will Brooks just beating Held up on the feet. So I'm gonna go with Marcin Held to win this one. I'm gonna go with Will Brooks to win this one. I am so sorry. And I had a funny reaction there too. I'm gonna go with Will Brooks to win this one. I'll go by decision, because I can see Held kind of like pulling guard and making Brooks a bit, I want to use the word tentative, to really unload, And Held's a tough kid. So I'll go with Will Brooks to win this one by decision. Next fight after that, Pat Curran fights Justin Lawrence. Justin Lawrence, 8-2 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. 25 years old on a 4-fight win streak. He trains out of Power MMA because a lot of guys have been moving to Power MMA lately. Miles Jury, Johnny Case. It's now becoming one of the bigger camps out there. His kickboxing is solid. He has some power in his strikes. His grappling is improving. He's going to fight Pat Curran, who has a 21-7 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub, 28 years old. He's only won 2 of his last 5 fights, and he trains out of Team Curran. He's a former Bellator featherweight champion. At his best, he's a good counter striker with good wrestling. His takedown defense is solid. His overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is good too. One of the problems with Pat Curran, though, is he hasn't looked great, in his last fights. He lost to Weichel. Like, he got outstruck by Weichel. He hasn't looked great in the Daniel Strauss fight. Well, he had a really good... Their third fight was, like, really good. But he did get dropped. He got dropped multiple times by Patricio Pitbull Freire. And Curran is coming off that win, though. It was a solid win. Against, just a solid opponent. I forgot, Emmanuel Sanchez. He fought Emmanuel Sanchez. Solid win. He outstruck the guy. The thing with Justin Lawrence, though, is his kickboxing's really coming along. I sense upset potential here. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to assume Pat Curran's going to be the favorite, but I got to say, like, Pat Curran has looked a bit inconsistent lately. You just see it in a lot of his fights. Like, his old counter-striking game that he used to employ just isn't there anymore. He used to sit back, let his opponent dictate kind of like the striking, and he'd counter. And he'd counter really well. I'm seeing a lot less of that from him. Actually, that's kind of not existing anymore. Justin Lawrence is going to be one of the better kickboxers, in my opinion, that he's going to fight here. His only losses are in the UFC to Max Holloway, and he got Kimura too, against like this. I forgot against who the guy's name, but he's a real vet. He's. I wouldn't use the word veteran, but he's real crafty on the ground and just had way more experience than Lawrence at this point. Problem is, Pat Curran has a lot more experience against higher level competition than Lawrence. So that's the thing. I'm tempted to go Pat Curran by decision here, but dude, I have really liked what I've seen out of Justin Lawrence. He is just, I liked it, I'm curious to see what his change in camp's going to do for him. It's done wonders for Bader, I'm actually going to go Justin Lawrence by decision. I think he can keep the fight on the feet, and his striking, like I said, that counter-striking game that I used to see from Curran just isn't there anymore. He actually, against some better strikers, it looks like he gets outstruck a lot these days. Justin Lawrence, definitely an improving kickboxer. He's looking really good. I'm going to go with Justin Lawrence by decision here. I'm assuming Pat Curran is the favorite. I'm going with the upset. Probably not the best idea, but because Pat Curran's so much more experienced. But like I said, I think there's a lot of theories about Pat Curran, and that was like under the tournament system, he had to get good really fast. And what happened is he got really good, and then he dropped. Like, he declined fast too, I mean, he's only been losing to top guys, Patricio Pitbull, Daniel Strauss, and then he ended up beating Daniel Strauss and like Daniel Weichel. Justin Lawrence, one of those top guys. I don't know, but he definitely looks like fresher, hungrier guy. And I can't help but feel that Pat Curran is looking less elite and more mid-level, upper mid-level at this point. He's just not looking like I can't really say, back then it's like his counter-striking. Elite level counter-striking, This guy hitting counters all the time. Now it's like, I don't know, he's a good striker now. He can wrestle. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is good. He's big for the weight class. But like, I can't really say any one aspect of his game is elite at this point, you know. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the upset here, Justin Lawrence by decision. And like I said, I like the camp change. I'm curious to see what Power MMA is doing with Justin Lawrence. Next fight after that, Michael Chandler fights David the K-Man Rickles. Rickles, 16-3 record with 1 no contest. 4 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 26 years old. He'll be the taller fighter at 5'11". His Muay Thai is good. He's always pushing forward. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is solid. And he's very resilient, too. Yeah, he's always like a guy in the fight. Did he get disqualified? I think he got a DQ loss in his last fight, though. Going a little too crazy on his opponent and kneeing the guy in the face while he's grounded. Michael Chandler, 13-3 record, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub, 26 years old. He's going to be a shorter fighter at 5'8". He's actually only won 1 of his last 4, most recently beating Derek Campos. He lost like Eddie Alvarez and like twice to Will Brooks. Honest truth, I thought the first Will Brooks fight he should have got the win. I thought in that second Eddie Alvarez fight he should have got the win too. But anyways, Michael Chandler also moved to Power MMA. A lot of these guys from Alliance moved to Power MMA. He is a former Bellator lightweight champion, and he's already defeated Rickles by KO back in July of 2013. First round KO too. He's a strong wrestler with really good ground and pound. His top control is real good. He actually has a pretty decent back take too. He's strong in the clinch. His boxing's good. He has some fast hands, and he is relatively heavy-handed too. I see a repeat of what happened the first time they fought. I'm just going to go with Michael Chandler by KO or TKO. I think he's just going to be the better... Chandler's probably going to be the better athlete. I think he's going to have the faster hands. Like Rickles, you know, he's a solid fighter. He's not a very quick fighter, though. So, yeah, I'm going to go Michael Chandler by KO or TKO. Next fight after that, Bobby the Dominator Lashley fights James the Colossus Thompson. Hey, Thompson, 20-14 record with 1 no contest. 11 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 11 losses by KO or TKO and 2 losses by sub. He's 36 years old. He's actually the taller fighter at 6'5", and he's actually on a 4-fight win streak, training out of London Shoot Fighters. He's defeated Lashley back in Super Fight League by unanimous decision back in May of 2012. He last fought, it was in Bellator against Eric Prindle back in June 2014. And it seems like he keeps getting injured and stuff. His stand-up's good. He's relatively heavy-handed. And he's actually has greatly improved his grappling game. Bobby Lashley, 13-2 record. 4 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. 39 years old. He's 6'2". He's on a 6-fight win streak, training out of ATT Altitude. He's actually a solid wrestler. His ground and pound is good. He gets a lot of finishes by ground and pound. He can be something of a grinder, though. You know, he'll like get the clinch, take the back, you know, slam me to the ground, get back to her feet, he'll slam me back to the ground type of guy. His stand-up's really weak. I think he over-relies on his wrestling too much, and I almost like never see his stand-up. Like, almost never see his stand-up. And his cardio is a bit suspect as well. Same with James Thompson's cardio. It's very suspect. With that said, I don't think the layoff's good for Thompson. I know he's always like coming off injuries and stuff. I kind of like Lashley to win this one by unanimous decision. I don't know if it's going to be like the first fight, though. It was like really bad. They were just up against the cage, and they were like clinching, doing some dirty boxing, and just kind of exchanging like, and just turning each other around, so like the opponent's back is against the cage. It wasn't a great fight by any means. They were tired pretty much like by the second round. But I think Lashley's made a couple improvements. I think his wrestling is just a bit cleaner at this point. He seems a bit more comfortable too. So I'll go with Bobby Lashley by decision. Okay, on to the prelims. There's some of these guys I've never seen, but some I have. I have seen Alex Huddleston, and he's fighting Augusto Sakai, another guy I've seen too. Huddleston, 6-1 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub, 29 years old. He's 6'7" and a 5-fight win streak. He trains out of KTL Grindhouse. He most recently actually beat, I believe he's the one that beat Javier Ayala by like Rene Gachuk, and I'm actually kind of high on Javier Ayala. But Augusto Sakai, he's 8-0 undefeated. He with 7 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by decision. 24 years old. He's 6'4". He actually has a pretty good Muay Thai game. Particularly good knees too. I actually like Sakai's game. I think he can get the knockout here. So I'm going to go Augusto Sakai by knockout. Next fight after that, Adam Sella fights Chojin Erwin Davis. Okay, Erwin Davis, 2-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 1 win by sub. It's going to be a shorter fight at 6 foot. Gonna be honest with you, never seen footage of the guy. Adam Sella, 6-4 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. Also has 2 losses by sub. Taller fighter at 6'2". He's actually on a 2-fight losing streak. He looked good in his last fight until he got armbarred. Like, he was beating up his opponent. I totally forgot who it was. I think it was actually one of the guys fighting on this card, right? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was against, not Steve Mann. It was, I think it was Kyle Kurtz, right? Yeah, I think it might have been Kurtz. I'm not too sure. But anyways, Adam Sella is a finisher. His stand-up looked pretty good there. You know, he can grapple a bit. So I'm going to go with Adam Sella for the win there. Next one after that, I've actually seen Garrett Gross. Is it Gross or Gross? I've seen him fight because he fought Chris Heatherly and just kind of got laid on in his last fight. He fights Luke Nelson. I'll say Gross. Garrett Gross, 6-4 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. 27 years old, training out of ATT, and he is a finisher. The thing with Gross though, his takedown defense just isn't very good. His stand-up's pretty solid. He's relatively heavy-handed too. Luke Nelson, names from some of these guys, like, they sound familiar. I've probably seen him, but I just don't remember him. So Luke Nelson, 2-1 record with 1 win by TKO, 1 win by sub. I'm going to go with Garrett Gross for the win there. Next after that, Hugh Pulley fights Stephen Mann. Pulley, 5-2 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by decision. Stephen Mann, 11-2 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 8 wins by sub. He also has 1 loss by TKO and 1 loss by sub. Because of that, he's only went to the second round once. Like, all of his other fights have never been past the first round. I forgot he fought someone too. I remember seeing his fight because he had a fun fight last time out in Bellator. I forgot against who. But nonetheless, I'm going to go with Stephen Mann to win that one. So after that, Vince Easel fights Chris Heatherly. So I haven't seen any video of Vince Easel. Just know he has a 6-2 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub, 34 years old. Heatherly, 9-3 record with 1 no contest, 1 win by TKO, 4 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by sub. He used to actually find the UFC. His wrestling's actually pretty good. Decent top control. Stand up, nothing to really write home about. Nonetheless, I'll go with Chris Heatherly to win this one. From here on out, I've probably seen some of these guys' fights, but some of the names sound familiar, but like, I don't remember them, so I'll just consider them. Haven't watched video of these guys. Kevin Angle fights Kyle Kurtz. Well, actually, I have seen Kurtz. Never mind. Never mind what I said. 4-1 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 1 loss by TKO. He is a finisher. He's never been past the second round. Kevin Angle, 4-0 undefeated record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. He's 6'2". Trains out of Finney's Hit Squad. He is a finisher who's also never been past the second round. I'm going to go with Kevin Angle to win that one. Now, his name's sounding familiar to me. I think I've seen him fight. But anyways, so these next guys, I haven't seen them fight. Okay. Clay Mitchell fights Kane Royer. Royer, 1-2 record. It's a 1 win being by submission. He has a loss by TKO and loss by submission, and he's never been past the first round. Clay Mitchell, 1-0 record. That 1 win being by sub. He's pretty tall at 6'2". So I'll go with Clay Mitchell to win that one. Next right after that, Jordan Doughty fights Adam Meredith. Jordan Doughty, 2-0 undefeated record, with both wins being by TKO, and he's never been past the first round. Adam Meredith, 3-1 record, 1 win by TKO, 1 win by sub. Pretty tall at 6'2". A lot of guys, for some reason, are 6'2" here. And he's on a 2-fight win streak. So I'll go with Adam Meredith to win that one. Next right after that, Scott Ettling fights Garrett Mueller. Mueller, 2-0 undefeated record, 1 win by sub, 1 win by decision, 26 years old. Ettling, 2-0, also 2-0 undefeated, both wins being by submission, and he's never been past the first round. I'll go with the guy who's actually been to 3 rounds, Garrett Mueller, for the win there. And finally, Brandon Lowe fights Rashad Lovelace. So Brandon Lowe has no amateur or pro MMA bouts that I know of. Whereas with Rashad Lovelace, he's 1-0 pro MMA record, with that 1 win being by TKO. So I'll go with Rashad. It's actually Rashard Lovelace for the win there. Okay, let's recap. The main card, I have Daniel Strauss beating Patricio Freire. Will Brooks over Martine Held. Justin Lawrence over Pat Curran. Michael Chandler beating David Rickles. And Bobby Lashley over James Thompson. On the prelims, Augustus Sakai beating Alex Huddleston. Adam Sella over Chalgene Irwin Davis. Garrett Gross beating Luke Nelson. Stephen Mann over Hugh Pulley. Chris Heatherly over Vince Easel. Kevin Engel over Kyle Kurtz. Clay Mitchell beating Kane Royer. Adam Meredith over Jordan Doughty. Garrett Mueller over Scott Ettling. And Rashard Lovelace over Brandon Lowe. So that's it for my predictions for Bellator 145 Vengeance. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for You. Thank you guys very much.